Okay, Mark Verheer here with a video on the Nexus. I'm going to remove my little red cover and put the Nexus in a nice stand, like so. And I'll show you the 8-bitty. The 8-bitty is produced by iCade, and it has a nice wood grain sticker on the side. Very nice 70s sticker on top. 4 action buttons, they are unmarked. A very nice thumb pad that is somewhat reminiscent of the thumb pad you find on the on some Mega Drive controllers and also on the Saturn controllers. So it's a very responsive, nice thumb pad. Very nice cross, and your thumb really rests well on it. Select and start also unmarked, so and 2 shoulder buttons. And it runs off 2 AAA batteries with a screw, and probably they last for quite a bit, because otherwise I think they don't use the screw. Oh man, I keep sneezing whilst recording these videos. An on and off switch. So if we turn it on, a light starts to shine, and I'll turn on the Bluetooth stack as well. And yes, you can see that it works. It's really interesting to see how the 8-bitty actually implements key presses by looking at what it says. Going right has a 2 key it says DC, so right has a DC code, DC, DC, DC. Left says AQ, AQ, AQ. Up says WE. Down says XZ. If you go diagonal, it has WAQ. So it really has different values for all sorts of directions. And probably the reason why, I mean, it's a keyboard, but it sends out double or triple codes when it comes to key presses. The action buttons also. The top one has a key code IM. The other has OG, KP, LV. That says YT, and that says UF. This says HR, and this says JN. So yeah, these are all the buttons, but they have 2 or 3 and combinations. Combinations of buttons really show up differently. So the reason why I show this is because in another video I showed the gamepad, which also uses some sort of keyboard emulation for built-in game controls that are mounted on the side of a 7-inch tablet. They seem to be using singular. I'm not sure. We could actually try that out. I mean, trying to find out why things just don't work the same. Now it's mapped differently. They are cursor keys. So I guess the reason why it works, perhaps why it works or why it doesn't work with this properly, because they map the cursor keys on the directional keys, whereas the 8-bitty doesn't use the cursor keys but just sequences of letters. Anyways, let's go check out some emulators. Contrary to yeah, a real controller, I don't think the 8-bitty is recognized by native Android applications that actually support joysticks. But we can see if the Sega CD, the Sonic CD implementation actually works with help and options, settings. The good thing about iCade controllers is actually that they are very widely supported by all sorts of games and sadly it is not mapped, and there's no way to map it. So yeah, that's a shame. So the 8-bitty, well, the name says the 8-bitty is mainly for use for emulators, and the Robert Brodia emulators really function well. Let me see. For example, Dangerous Seed. Oh man, I'm just all over the place. Dangerous Seed, which is a shooter. Press the action button. And yeah, the controls are mapped quite a bit different, because you would imagine start to be this, but start is actually the shoulder button. Hope you can see it. It does shine a bit, so perhaps if I turn it sideways a bit more sound to it. Well, as you can see, hitting diagonals, moving up and down, really works well with this. And the frame rate is very fast. It's just full speed. So this is the main for all emulator. And yeah, as you can see, a shmup like this really works well. And this emulator really has been optimized. This main emulator has really been optimized for portable devices, so it plays really well. There's also a MAME that is using the 1.139 chipset, I believe. It's a lot slower, but emulates more games. But that's a huge amount of memory that is needed for saving all the game files. And yeah, this has no internal memory that is large enough to be able to do that. Perhaps you could actually run it off a memory stick, but I have yet to do that. With the latest ROM, with the latest OS update, actually using USB drives over the OTG cable, kind of broke immensely. Let me see. Exit. Show you another. Exit the game. Show you another one. What is also another one? Oh, Dodonpachi perhaps. I hope it's on here. No, it doesn't seem to be in here. It's not supported. Well, Neo Geo perhaps. Polestar. Whoops. That's Polestar. Like so. You can actually remove, in the settings, you can actually remove the buttons that show on the screen, and you can actually have all sorts of you can really define all the keys that are used in the emulator. So I mean, you could actually operate it all from this and have nothing touch wise on the screen. But yeah, Neo Geo emulation, just yeah, it rocks. It's just full speed. Everything I try here is full speed. 16 and 8-bit emulators really are all running full speed on the Nexus 7. Yeah, and now you hear the buttons of the 8-bitty quite a bit. But if you turn up the sound, I mean, it doesn't make any more noise than a regular, you know, a regular NES controller. It really feels a bit like a NES controller. Looks like a NES controller. I actually would have preferred the buttons to have shifted, not have horizontal and vertically, but just tilted a bit like a real NES controller. But probably they may run into copyright issues or something, not sure. Puzzle Bobble Bust a Move, another Neo Geo game. I love this game. And now the shoulder buttons really would easily have been mapped on there as well, because do we have other? No, just a fire button. So yeah, Neo Geo emulation really works well. Okay, what else? Of course, 2600 emulation, recent games, Centipede. Yeah, sure. It really works well. So getting a Nexus 7 for your emulation, even though the internal memory is quite limited, you can actually store quite a few nice games on there. I mean, 16 gigabytes is not really very small if you just run old 8-bit game files on there. What else? Let me see if I can actually load another one, another more. Oh yeah, I think the original Pac-Man actually. Let me see if I can swipe it up. The original Pac-Man that has quite a bit of flickering and stuff. See if that actually works. Or Galaction. Galaction, that's quite a nice. Difficulty settings are mapped. Well, here we have full speed, 2600 emulation. You can have trilinear filtering on. If you turn that off, emulation is even faster, but also the screen is more blockier. Perhaps I can show you the difference. Like so, options, video, image filter, none. And here we have the full blocky, whoops, which some may actually prefer, I'm not sure. Okay, let's try another emulator. Game Boy Advance, recent games. Konami Racers, yes. Let me see what's. Whoops! I crashed into the water. Let me see how the keys were actually mapped, because mapping the keys is actually quite use iCade on. Okay. Options, input, key config, gamepad controls. Select. It doesn't work. So it doesn't work as a keyboard, and you have to. That's the thing with this, is that you actually have to work with mappings on the iCade, the 8-bitty, and they can be like so. So the mappings of the iCade are a bit off sometimes. They are predefined by the emulator author, and I guess he chose this button and this. And but as you can see, it runs full speed. It's a clone of Mario Kart. So the 8-bitty is not easily configured. Actually, the MAME, I don't think you can configure the MAME as well. You just have to work with the predefined settings. Gunag. So continue. But here you can see that it really does run full speed. The little red circles, they have numbers in them, and these numbers are actually plot on, how do you say that, in an interlaced fashion, very fast switching on and off, so they get kind of a transparent look. And if the emulator is full speed, you can actually see the numbers quite clearly. You can actually see the transparency effect as well. If the emulator doesn't do all the frames, sometimes the whole letter or number isn't visible in the little red floating thing. And here it is. So, and it's ultra smooth. You can actually see no hiccups. It's just, you know, butter smooth. Yeah, I'm kind of tired. Had a hectic Christmas, quite an intense Christmas actually, and so my ability to speak English whilst playing a game is rather limited. So please bear with me. Yeah, I need additional brain power to actually fake English. Otherwise it'll come out pure gibberish. As pure gibberish. Okay, so that's NES. Let's see another emulator. MSX. Recent game. Gradius 2. Of course. Oh. Well, also predefined. Continue at 5. Yeah. Let's just start a new game. So the two fire buttons used by the real MSX controllers are actually used. So you can actually select the options as well. Here the two lower button, the bottom lower red buttons are used. And this, perhaps you won't be able to tell, but this is also running full speed. So that's very nice. PC Engine emulation, recent game, blazing lasers. Sure, why not? Well, if this isn't full speed, I'm not sure. On the gamepad, the Arcos gamepad, you can actually squeeze more fluid, more solid gameplay out of the emulators by turning off trilinear filtering or linear filtering and stretching the screen to fill the complete screen. It seems that doing a 4:3 takes more computer power than just fill the whole screen with the output of the emulator. Seems weird, but it is the case. The 8-bitty doesn't do PlayStation emulation, so that's it doesn't map on the emulators, and the emulators don't seem to have a mapping for it. So let's check out Metal Slug, Alest, Musha. Here we have the fire buttons, and this runs buttery smooth, ultra fast, 60 frames per second at least, and this does do shmups justice. So for shmups, 8-bit shmups, 16-bit shmups, this works a charm. So that's full speed. Oh, and the other emulator was still going strong, I saw, but you know, it doesn't matter because it just chugs along nicely. Let me see if FPSE. Oh, it's probably downloaded. Every time you start it up, there's a new update, which is very cool actually, because they continue to develop the emulator. English. there's two games running there, Ridge Racer, and probably, oh look, paired devices. Yeah, select that. Okay. I haven't seen this before. Okay. So it does actually recognize it. I was pressing the start button, but then it accidentally immediately quit. So let's see if it actually works. It would be very cool. Oh look, 8-bit controller, scan or device, so select that one. Oh. Unable to connect device, oh, which is a shame. So there you have it. Kind of a not so very nice experience when it comes to PlayStation emulation. Still have to do the touch controls. USB controls may actually work, not sure, but well, PlayStation emulation is really full speed. Let's see if there's actually a setting for because I really would like to settings, gamepad, external gamepad, the eye control pad, like so, because it's like an eye control pad. Bitty, not connected. Perhaps they want this. This is the another iCade control pad that has a different button layout with 2 shoulder buttons, but actually this is meant for playing games with your iPhone locked into them. I will actually do a review on that one as well, but or a review, gameplay and talk. But yeah, I mean, it does recognize the 8-bitty, but it doesn't want to function with the 8-bitty, at least not in my little clip. Oh, preferences. Controller 1. Pad type, hardware buttons, input methods, physical keyboard on. Well, probably it won't work, but we'll see. Ridge Racer type 1. It doesn't want to function. Well, so for PlayStation emulation, the 8-bitty still is kind of a miss, sadly. But for 8-bit emulation, it's very cool. Okay, so I would actually recommend this for all the Brolia emulators on the Android devices. I mean, you can actually take this with you quite easily and yeah, have it as a separate gaming device. The only drawback is that you actually have to prop up your Android device somewhere, and I actually got this piece of rubber that is some sort of multi-platform, multi-display stand. It really holds the iPad, and it's, you know, it's quite heavy. And you can stick it in like this, or stick it in like that. Perhaps it's actually a bit too vertical. I would have liked it to be a bit, but you can actually change the angle a bit by moving it up a bit. But it's less secure that way. But yeah, I mean, it's really it really is very secure. So yeah, you don't have to bump to it at it from the back, because then it just falls flat on its face, and then you have an X tablet. But yeah, so I'm gonna stick this back into its beautiful, fancy red case. I really love this case, and yeah. Okay, I'll be back with another video later. Not sure when, but later it'll be. Mark signing off, and I'll be back.